salaries. These are people whose only other access to money is the one they collect from drivers on the road, or they extort from so-called Yahoo boys. Of course, if they saw any young person that's carrying a laptop or using an expensive phone,
they arrest them.
Automatically a Yahoo person, and then they begin to look into your account and extort money. So you are giving them legitimate reason to go that route. Okay? Now, so to answer your question more directly, we ought to have a rethink about the way now every season rather, ASU is either on strike or is planning to go on strike. Nurses and midwives are either on strike or they are planning to go on strike. Resident doctors are either on strike or they are planning to go on strike. Every segment of our working class, they are always agitating for just small increments, small consideration in allowances, and nobody is giving them. Nobody is paying attention. Every day there is negotiation. Okay, we are negotiating. What are you negotiating? Now, by the pronouncement, by the removal of subsidy, there has come to be at least more money. Please, sir, let this money reflect in our reward system for lower cadre of public service. Let the doctors have more money. Let the nurses have more money. Let the teachers, let the primary school teachers have more money. A level 12 teacher, a level 14 teacher is earning below 100,000
in the states.
At the state level. So this is
and he has raised a very strong issue. ASU is threatening to go on strike. We negotiate year after year. Some states have not even paid the minimum wage of 70,000 naira. And the commission is considering just a class. Our two colleagues have said this could be a setup. I do not want to call it a setup, but I worry about that policy. The likely consequence if a salary review is announced today, when the governor's salary is announced to have gone some 2-3 notches up, and the governor is still owing unpaid pensions because he's going to draw that salary from the state resources. The 70 minimum wage he has not started implementing. The schools are dilapidated. The health care is anything but a health care facility, and the governor of course flies overseas to look after himself, and when he returns he gets to hear that he now gets more salary for owing me my pension, for getting the salaries unpaid. And by the way, some governors have not even cleared backlog of old salaries, legitimate salaries. What is the likely consequence of this?
Well, the likely consequence is that sooner or later we are heading somewhere. There is going to be a major crisis in this land. There is no doubt about it. I don't know when it will come, but it will likely come. Because let me tell you what is increasingly happening is that we do not have any sense of responsibility or obligation to the people anymore. Nobody in what we call public service, quote and unquote, that expression is an anomaly. There is no service in that. Nobody is servicing anybody anymore. And we are heading to that point where people who are in position believe and they know that the people who they are supposed to serve actually do not exist, and there's nothing they can do. And that's the truth of the matter. And when a colleague here spoke, he said, there is developing a certain animosity, a certain anger against those people. It is going to explode somewhere, because when you take people for granted for a very long time that they cannot do anything. I don't want to open another line of discussion and all that will even lead to pointing fingers that may not come exactly to me at the point or any other person. But you know what it means is that people believe that no matter whatever I do, you cannot even move me out of that seat. And when public service becomes that nobody can move you from the place where purportedly you were elected or put into, and those who put you there can no longer remove you, they will have to find an alternative means of getting you out, and it will eventually come. And so what is playing out now is actually a very dangerous situation that is coming up. What the government and those who are in government do at the moment, which they think they are getting away with it, is that when people raise a very serious issue of concern about their state of being, you either shout them down, or you also mobilize a counter force that drown whatever they are saying. You are not trying to them. You are not trying to actually find a means of addressing that problem, but by shouting them down, you believe that you have bought yourself more time, and then you head towards renewing your, being on that seat one way or the other. At some point in time, something has to give. So the proposal to actually increase the salary or the pay of people who are in a political position is extremely insensitive, is extremely uncalled for. And if indeed we owe obligation in public service to the people around who put us there, I don't see how anybody can actually think of this now. This is the least thing that we should be thinking about. I also have a different perspective on the labor union and the rest of the unions, asking for give us more money, give us more money. I'm not always inclined to that give us more money. You bring more money and the more money gets you nothing. So I'm looking at the position, the situation where they are going to come at a certain level, where they are going to say, give us houses, give us more services in terms of transportation, give us all the things that the food, we are no longer talking about, people can no longer buy the food. So if I give you and increase the minimum wage, which we can't even get the 70,000 paid, assuming that you even make it 700,000, and then one bag of rice automatically costs 1 million, then it makes nothing again now. So what are you doing with the money? People should be more concerned with, we're agitating for you to make sure that there is a provision for food. We're assuming for you to make sure, well, of course, we no longer discuss mass housing and all that kind of thing. They are no longer, what we hear in governance today. But that's the type of thing they should be asking for. Secure yourself shelter, secure yourself food, secure yourself health. We have a public health system, and anybody who had tried to use that thing that they call, what do they call it? The health thing that they make for people. When you go to hospital, that thing, primary health, whatever it is, when you go there, I think it can guarantee you only paracetamol. Invariably, you can get nothing out of, that situation. But we all know that that is not what obtains in serious societies. We all know that people who work for government, who work in public service, actually have their health services guaranteed. It is there. We know that the food is there, that the people, that's what actually secures the ordinary people in the society. And keep society stable. Keep the society stable, so that then the political class can then afford to play and do what they like. But you can't afford to play and do what you like when the majority of the people are not eating, they are not secured. Why would they not be stealing and mugging people and killing and whatever it is? It's insecure for everybody. That is the danger that is coming. I don't know how people are reasoning, but we all, the elite should be worried.
Yes, okay, we want to make a contribution.
Talking about elite being worried, I saw a picture or even a video of a scenario that made me really think. I laughed, chuckled, and all of that, but then there's this public official that I saw in the church, and then I saw security men standing
while the
service was on.
Worship was going on. They were doing like this, looking this way and that,
Inside the church.
Inside the church, the big oga was seated, and the boys all over from the door to where he was seated. He's seated like this. Somebody is standing by his side, and he's doing this way. Why is that? And let me also remind us that insecurity was exacerbated, especially in the southeast, because certain category of persons felt shortchanged. Now, this is not about ESN or IPO and all of that. because I know of a story of people just targeting certain kinds of vehicles. It didn't matter who was inside. There were certain kinds of vehicles that they will see. They will say this is a politician, and they will face you with AK-47. It didn't matter whether you genuinely
bought your vehicle,
the money with which you bought your vehicle, but you had come to become a target. They are not looking for you to give them
that's
money.
a symbol of their operation.
That is not armed robbery. They are not interested. They just want to kill you. Symbol of exasperation, symbol of frustration.
Okay, but my take is that just sorry.
Why that is not sorry, sir? Why that is not justified by any?
No. But
I'm just trying to.
We're headed to
that.
What we're
saying about going somewhere is something that is avoidable. This kind of thing is avoidable. Political office holders should not throw it in our faces that they are living big off our money, of our commonwealth, our common patrimony.
And Revenue Commission wants them to live bigger.
This group of people are now, further, bastardizing our sensibilities by this kind of nonsense.
Yes, you were trying to say something.
Yes, I'm saying that it's difficult to place this in just around the political class. If you take a deep and very cursory look at what is going on, you find out what we need in this country is what I will call ethical revolution. The political class you're talking about is people, all of us are in the political class. It's a matter of rotation of these seats. We'll keep moving. Everybody here is a politician. And everybody here will rotate into one political position or the other, either by default or by design. But if you remove everybody that is in public office now and go to this same street and bring another fresh set of Nigerians into this
and put them there,
they will
say,
continue.
oh, our turn. It's our turn.
It has been established.
It's our turn. Let us, they will become more vitriolic, more bullish, more intolerant. Let me give you an instance. There was a time we were able to get the age required for certain positions, we brought them down. And that afforded us the opportunity of having some young governors and young
commissioners, young public office holders.
All of us here, I don't want to mention them. We saw some of the young governors that emerged, some in their late 30s, some in their early 40s, or much younger. And we saw that, what the other elderly governors were still trying to do in
the closet.
They now did it with much more
on the stage,
impunity and brazenness
and ferocity.
Now, if you go to the students, the other day you saw it on the social media, where student union elections were being conducted and people were being, brutalized and gunshots were ringing everywhere inside the schools. And of course, there was that advertisement also where a student union president had a list of his appointees.
250 or something.
About 250 of them. So it's not a matter of profiling a particular
class,
strata, sediment of the society and say the politicians, the political class. It's a matter of going back to Romans 12, verse 1. Be ye transformed
by the renewal
of your mind. We need an ethical revolution. We need a governor, a president who will come into that seat and make part of his major, go to what one of our brothers, even though I disagree with the fact that he came to power through the rule of the gun in our neighboring country,
in Niger,
Burkina Faso.
Okay.
The young man there, if I was going through a documentary in the YouTube day before yesterday, and I saw that in Burkina Faso today, first of all, they removed all the foreign contractors. They took away the whole Bretton Woods structures and institutions, and then the citizens wake up and go to the presidential villa in the palace. If you finish as a security man, you finish as a banana seller, you finish as a cobbler, you go and they sleep all around the presidential palace. And what are you doing? They say, we don't want this particular president
to protect the president
to die. We don't want what happened to Thomas Sankara to happen to him. He has restored our dignity. He has brought us back to our sanity. How I wish, sometimes when I look back at the 80s, and just a minute, and I see what happened when those days we were in school and there was war against indiscipline, and you go to Lagos and you are no longer jumping inside the mole like a monkey, and you see everybody, waiting for their time and turn to enter the bus, and you saw that little period
window here
of maybe 6 months show that all that we need is a leader that will come, lead from the
has an idea of what he wants to do.
Leader, politics. Go ahead.
No, lead from, because you see, there has to be a conviction. It's not about politics. It's about getting a leader who walks into that seat and say, I want to make a reorientation. It's not about having an orientation agency. No. It's about the president coming up, somebody going into that seat, no matter how he comes in. For instance, in Burkina Faso, the man came through the gun, which arguably almost all of us here would say that's a British way of getting
accessing power.
So whether the person came through the manicured or pedicured ballot box, or he came through the gun, but we need, I pray every day for that Nigerian leader that will, however he happens into that seat, will sit back and say, now I want to turn things around. And I want to,
like
Diko attempted to do.
I want to make it. Look, Nigerians, I have declared my assets. Yes, all of these assets I acquired them, like he's saying, I acquired them as a governor of Katsina State, probably rightly or wrongly, but I've declared them and I'm forfeiting this asset. As you are saying it, I'm going back to what I should have had if I was an ordinary, reasonable working adult. Now that I've done it, Mr. Vice President, you must do the same. SAG, you must do and the moment, I can assure you that the moment Nigerians see integrity in what he's doing, see sincerity of purpose, sees that his children and his relatives and his friends do not get any form of preferential treatment, Nigerians are very easy. Nigerians are waiting. Nigerians are willing. And we need this ethical revolution more than we need answers. We need it more than we need any form of riot or destruction of our public institutions. What we need is a turnaround of our thinking. There has to be some form of surgical, surgery. Yes, the inverted commas, opening and close. The way we think, our mindset. If you don't do this quickly enough, this ethical revolution I'm talking about, our children, these boys you are seeing here, all these youths you are seeing there, they don't want to work. They don't even want to read and study the way all of us know how studies are done. They want everything now. They want everything through the shortcuts, and they tell you, look, see, in Igbo parlance, pardon me, they say,
not small one.
I don't want to waste time. I want to happen. So, and now people are being butchered. You see videos of young people killing. Cannibalism is coming into our society. Conscience is being completely seared and destroyed. Any form of consideration for the neighbor
is out of the question.
There must be that thing that want to happen, like he says, something will happen. I'm praying, sir. Let this thing that will happen be
violent.
Be an ethical revolution. Let it be that all of us, having concluded that this we have all gotten it all wrong, will, from among the political class, maybe let's have a group of people that will engineer some level of ethical revolution.
Some level of ethical revolution. My producer says I've gone halfway. I should take a break, and I'll do just that. But is the step taken by the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission in consideration of the consequences of giving political class more money. Can the political class itself reject this offer? Where does the National Assembly come in this matter? Can the president himself bell the cat and call the commission to order? That will be the second part. Please stay with us. Thank you very much, and welcome back. Andy, before we took this very short break, Chikam Nayo said, why don't you drink a cup of coffee? Chikam Nayo, the weather in Abuja, the temperature is rising. It was very cold about 2 weeks ago. I don't think a coffee will do you good. What do you make you feel cool? Maybe a banana?
Coffee is always good. And Abuja weather is so dramatic that it fluctuates like the pendulum. If you give us coffee, it's better than the banana.
Well, Andy, the revenue mobilization, is it thinking of the consequence of what it is about to do? If it fails to think, isn't there an institution that is draw it back and say, look, you are leading us into temptation? And Chikam Nayo gave a very strong profile of who can get things changed. Somebody with a clear value comes in and says, we cannot be doing things this way. And I begin with myself. Can the president not call revenue mobilization to order?
Well, I don't know whether I can speak for the president, whether he can call them to order, but the first question you ask is the revenue mobilization, whether did they think of the consequences? The answer is no, they did not think about the consequences. The follow-up comment is that they couldn't have thought about consequences because in this very society now, there is never consequences. You don't have consequences for any action. And that is the truth. So they couldn't have thought about what does not exist and what doesn't often come up. You can, if you're occupying public position in Nigeria today, you can actually get away with anything. And we all see it happening, whether it is at the level of even the security agencies, at the police or the governors or at the presidency or at other lesser positions. People do things that we know that are out of the way. The things are done in the public service. And nothing happens. In fact, a common expression that comes is that nothing will happen. You have had that,
and nothing really happens.
And nothing happens. So how do you run a system where people who are in public positions do things and say nothing will happen, and nothing happens? So revenue mobilization, in making this proposal, definitely did not think about consequences, because definitely there will be no consequences. So the question you ask, can the president call them to order? Me, I don't know. I've never been president before. I don't know whether this one will call them to order. Will the National Assembly call them to order? I've not been there, but I know the answer is that they will not. Now, why do I say that? Because you are going to ask yourself, the thing that revenue mobilization proposed to do, is it out of sync with what actually exists in terms of appropriating money at the the legislature? I mean, we have gone through appropriation and budget, and we all hear all sorts of things. Some of them very unfortunate, some of them you don't know whether they are really true or not. You talk about the paddings of the budget, you talk about, appropriating money that actually make no sense to any sane person. And so who calls who to order? These are some of the things that when I said earlier on, and I said in public service today, there is no service in it at all.
No, but I'm a little hurt. I'm a little hurt by what you're profiling, institutional profiling. Okore, every year the National Assembly appropriates it sees the quantum of money the Nigerian establishment is investing in offices. It knows how much goes to the president. It knows how much should be going to the government. It knows how much goes to the governors. It knows how much goes for remuneration. It knows how much is needed to protect all of us. So the National Assembly knows. Therefore, the allocation of resources and prioritization is on the table of legislature. They know. If the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission decides, wakes up and says it wants to shift resources in a particular direction, the National Assembly knows. And National Assembly knows the needs of the nation. If those needs, if RAMFAC's move is not in sync with those needs, the institution that should raise the red flag should be National Assembly. Can't we task? Are they without feelings? Are they without understanding? Or they don't care really? These fears raised by two of our colleagues that something may happen.
The buck stops at somebody's desk to start with. But before I address that frontally, there's something he raised that I think needs a bit of a response. Yes, we are all politicians, and the table moves round, and we will all become like. But eventually, I'm happy. Eventually, he still got back to the same point. The solution must come from the politicians, not because in Igbo aphorism there is this saying that when a goat is eating
chewing cud,
the
little goat is watching his mouth,
and that is our worst nightmare in this country. That's the bane of leadership in this country. Look, he also raised the issue about younger people not wanting to work. Why would they work when all you need to do is carry gun for the politician? Just come and say, hey, or you say,
I'm ready to work for you, Oga.
You are my boss forever. Nothing do you, and you do that, and you just get by. You understand? Why would they work? They are seeing a thug, an unschooled. I don't want to be modest on set. And all that he does is follow this politician around, kill for him, name for him.
And suddenly he arrives.
And then you see him becoming local government chairman, you see him becoming commissioner, you see him becoming, and even eventually gets to become governor. When will the cycle end? Why should the cycle end? So at the end of the day, it boils down to either, the system changing one way or the other, violently or ethically, like he has suggested. And yes, I was making reference to former president Yaradua. His tenure was unfortunately cut short by death, but in the short period that he stayed in office, one legacy he left was that statement, that admission he made publicly, that the system that brought him to power was flawed, and he was going to do something about it. Whether he lived up to doing that eventually or not is a different thing. But that brings me to reinforcing what my colleague here said. We need to come to that point where we need to pray to God to give us that leader.
No, see, pray. Please. Wait. Thank you. Because praying, I'm told by. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We pray and work. Let me tell you why I said prayer. Because at the end of the day, I believe in God, and I believe God still has the final say over these things. Because how can you look up to anybody in a society that is endemic with corruption? How can you look up to man? We have come to a point of despondency where you can no longer look up to anybody to make a change. And then you can only resort to praying, because it will take God to bring the kind of leader he's talking about. Whether, and I said this, it is going to be whether by the Burkina
ethics,
Faso example or by
the ethical revolution of Chikamnayo.
That talking about ethical revolution, somebody has said, if you want to hope for that kind of revolution, then you will hope forever.
No.
And I don't want to go that route. That is why I
yes, because my producer says don't bust the time. Don't bust the time.
Let's just leave it at that. That we need leadership to take the lead. And if indeed, he cited the example of Burkina Faso, which is a live example. If the leader takes the lead, the people will follow.
Thank you, Chikamnayo. I apologize to you because my producer says I've overshot already. They are even going to have to edit to accommodate us within 1 hour. I didn't even know 1 hour is already spent. An interesting conversation, all provoked by the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Conclusion: please think again before you lead us into temptation. My name is Kumar Bojenjoku. Let me thank my colleagues who have found the time to be with me today. The conference will come day after day. For this edition, good morning.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorum, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Welcome back. You're still watching Signature Morning, and we just finished an interview from our Abuja studios talking on the PDP zoning presidency to the south. Lillian, I wonder, zoning presidency to which part of the south? Is it southeast or south-south or southwest?
My dear, I don't know what they want to achieve, but I believe that they want balance, they want stability, going with all the ups and downs that PDP has experienced and all the talks, especially from Wike and the rest. So let's hope for the best.
Yes, let's see how that is going to turn out, right? Anyway, well, as we'll be marking the World Physiotherapy Day globally on September 8th, in the build-up to that day, we're going to be turning the spotlight on what it truly means to age healthy, looking at life choices, preventive care, and the vital role of physiotherapy in helping, other older people stay strong and stay young. Now, joining us this morning via Zoom from Birnin Kebbi is
Okay, so joining us from Birnin Kebbi is Dr. Habib Ibrahim, the Deputy Director and Physiotherapy Federal Teaching Hospital, Birnin Kebbi. So, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you for joining us. In simple terms, how would you define healthy aging?
Yeah, thank you again. Aging is is a fundamental thing. Everybody from the very day we are born, we start aging. But the most important thing now is how do we age? And so that's when the healthy aging comes, which means that with long life comes with repercussions. So with the things we put in our body and how we take care of our body will determine a healthy aging and then debar us from frailty as we grow older.
Okay, so what does a healthy older person look like from your perspective?
Okay. And a healthy older person should be able to be independent as possible. That means you have to be able to carry yourself, move around, be strong, and because it has statistics have shown that at that age, if our muscles are not that strong enough and our bones are not strong enough, then the elder person will at any instant can fall at any time, and then their grappling reflexes diminishes, and so they are now at the risk of falling down or getting injuries. But if you are a healthy elderly person, it means that you can go about doing your function just like a normal person.
All right. Now, many people in Nigeria still associate physiotherapy mainly with sports injuries or things like accidents rehabilitation. Can you shed light on the broader role of physiotherapy when it comes to promoting healthy aging and also preventing falls?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Physiotherapy actually it's a branch of healthcare that focuses on movement dysfunction. So, and if without movement, there is no life. And so anything that will cause we from not moving the way we should be in terms of illnesses or after surgery or a disease, then that's where physiotherapy comes in with our techniques, advanced techniques that we have. This could be as a form of manual therapy, exercises, electrotherapy, and what have you. And that's how we try to bring the person back to as independent as possible. Hello?
Are you still there, Mr. Anda?
Yes, I am.
All right. Now, from your professional perspective, what lifestyle practices would you say that Nigerians should start adopting earlier in life to improve their chances of aging healthily?
Okay. From the age of 40 for men and 30 for women, we begin to age properly. It's not likely that we have to wait until we are 60 or above. What do I mean by we start aging properly? It means that we start to have bone depreciation, like what they call osteoporosis. Our bone density begins to go down. Our muscle mass begins to go down, which is known as sarcopenia. Our brain, there's this part of our brain that has to do with thinking and focusing and ability to react. That part of the brain is called the hippocampus. So that part of the brain to also begin to depreciate. And so as physiotherapists, we help or put people in line so that we reverse these cases. We can't, what will I say, stop it from happening, because that is what aging is all about. But we can delay or reverse these things so that with exercises, mostly resistive exercises, this osteoporosis, sarcopenia, and cognitive decline in the brain will be reversed.
All right. So as a physiotherapist, I want to understand what are the common causes of unhealthy aging?
Come again, please.
You are a physiotherapist, am I right?
Yes.
Yes, I want to understand the common causes of unhealthy aging.
Sedentary lifestyle is one of the ones that comes to my mind immediately, because they said sedentary sitting is the next smoking, because sedentary lifestyle will bring about a lot of things in terms of all the diseases of aging that you can think of. Is it diabetes? Is it cardiovascular problem like stroke? Is it cancer? Or what else? Like the sarcopenia I just mentioned. All these are diseases of the aging. So, but if at a younger age we engage in physical activities like cardiovascular, aerobic exercises, resistive exercises, impact training and stuff, and what have you. And then so this will now we say this person can age gracefully and be as independent as possible. I don't know if I've answered the question.
Yes, yes, you have. So now many of our listeners, or should I say, many people worry about fall and losing independence. From your point of view, what are the simplest home-based exercises that people that are aged can do? What can they do to feel better, and what changes can families make to stop this risk?
Yes. Usually I divide our body into two parts. We have the lower part of our body, which from the waist down, the lower limbs, and then upper part of our body, upper limbs. So what increases our mobility and keeps us alive is the lower part of our body, because this is the part of the body that has the larger mass of muscles in our body. The gluteus, the thigh muscles, the calf muscles. These are very, very large muscles, and these are where we have more deposits of glucose that we eat from what we eat in our body. So we concentrate on exercises that have to do with this part of the bodies, which increases like exercises like squatting, walking, not necessarily jogging anyway, but I think squatting, walking around, taking a walk, even if it is just 30 minutes in a day for 3 times a week. This will help and reverse all those things that we've mentioned earlier.
All right. Now, speaking of physical exercises and things that, people can do to be mobile, there are situations where older patients already face mobility limitations. So in such situations, how, what are the things that can be done or that they can do to improve their lifestyle? Are there design programs or physiotherapy design programs that are both safe and also practical for day-to-day living?
Yes, to exercise is a good thing, but then again, it can also be deadly, because for anybody to engage in any exercise, I always advise that you walk into the nearest hospital close to you, get yourself checked out if you are even good or physically okay for you to be engaged in all these exercises. Be it your family physician, or you come to a physiotherapy department, and then there are some things that needs to be checked. Your blood pressure, are you diabetic, your bone density, your weight, and all those things will be checked. And then specific exercise programs can now be designed for it's not just one exercise goes for everybody. No, you have to come, all those things needs to be checked out, and then specific exercise will be designed for specific entity. If you have mobility challenges, those challenges will be looked upon even before the exercise is engaged. I'll give you an example. Somebody that has hip problem or arthritis of the knee, you can't just tell the person to go and start doing exercise for what other people that do not have these things do. So you have to address those arthritic and the hip, improve the hip flexibility before you can now say, okay, this is the kind of exercise we will ask you to do, and so forth. There are so many exercises that can be done, even in the gym or in your house.
All right. Now, when it comes to things that cause hospitalization among older adults, falls remain one of the leading causes of that. So from your experience so far, what are the most common reasons why we find the elderly patients fall and then they have to be brought to the hospital for physiotherapy treatments?
All right. Earlier on, I mentioned a lot of things that happen that has to do with falling, and I'll just mention 3 again. Sarcopenia, that is loss of muscle mass. If you don't have enough muscle mass, it means that you are not strong enough. Your flexibility is also reduced. So if you are not strong enough, just you won't have balance, and your flexibility will also be reduced. So without balance, one will easily fall just by trying to maneuver or move from one position to the other. You can lose balance and then the person falls down. And then falling can now be very, very dangerous for such kind of person. The next one is the bone density. Sometimes we think that, okay, it is when the elderly fall that they now have hip fracture or one kind of form of fracture or not. But studies have shown that it is even the lack of the frailty of the bone that even caused the fall in the first place, meaning that the patient bone fractured and that fracture causes the person to fall. And then when they get to the hospital and then they say, okay, she fell down or he fell down, fractured. No, it is the frailty of the bone density that caused the fall in the first place. So that is number two. The third one and the final that I want to say about is the part of the brain that I talked about flexibility. I mean, the hippocampus. Hippocampus is one place there. That's where the neurotransmitters are based, which means that your ability to grasp and then your ability to think fast, your sharpness, and all those things comes from that place. So when you at that age, somebody start to have what we call this cognitive decline, it means that part of the brain is shrinking. So exercise reverses it, makes it like consider your brain to be another muscle, because the more you exercise, the more your muscle mass grows. So the same thing, that part of the brain also grows. So if you do that before the aging process start coming, it means that you are delaying such things, even dementia and depression. All those things come from that place. So those are the three places that I want to talk about now.
All right. So study says that nutrition ties closely to with muscle and bone health. So how do you advise older adults on their diet? Are there locally available food for them to take? Would you recommend protein or vitamin D?
Yes. Here in our locality, the most available food for us are usually carbohydrates. Most of our diets contains carbohydrates. Is it rice? Is it yam? What have you? Even the vegetable we talk about contains even carbohydrates we are talking about. So protein is the main source of food that grows these muscles I'm talking about. These are the things that grows our cells. Our cells dies every day because of use or things like that. And so the cells reproduces itself. Protein is the one source of food that makes these things to grow. I'm talking about egg, meat, and what have you. These are the main source of protein I can think of here in our locality here. So those are the food that I will advise that we improve on. Some people will say beans, but so the studies have shown that even one egg in a day will give you enough protein that you need. You can eat more than that one. It's okay, but considering the economic situation, that's why I'm limiting it to one egg in a day. It will give you at least not enough, but at least substantial amount of protein that you need by the day. And the most important thing again is the exercise that I said. If you eat a lot of carbohydrates, as you finish eating, go and do one or small. Just take a walk, even if it's 5-minute walk. Do something so that you can burn it.
All right. Now, access to looking at the awareness and accessibility of physiotherapy. Now, access to physiotherapy in Nigeria is still quite limited, particularly outside the urban centers, like when you go to the rural communities and the rural areas. So, in your position, what changes do you think that can be done, or the government and health institutions should implement to make physiotherapy more accessible to the elderly people?
Like I'll give an example. Here in Kebbi, I think the Federal Teaching Hospital is one of the hospitals that is offering physiotherapy services in the whole of Kebbi State. We have all the local general hospitals. They don't have physiotherapists. They are working. So, but now I think physiotherapy at the national level is collaborating with WHO. And then there's this thing they are coming up with, like rehabilitation for all. That is taking rehabilitation to the doorstep of the Nigerian people and the rural services. They are still working on it. I don't know how far they've gone, but it's one thing that I know that is going on right now in terms of making physiotherapy accessible and the general public to be aware of what we do as physiotherapists.
All right. For people over 60 years, what kind of routine checks do you think they should ask their clinicians for, and how often should they ask for that?
Over 60, uh, there are a lot of things that needs to be checked regularly. Their blood pressure, their blood sugar, all this needs to be checked. Their cardiopulmonary status, their lung capacity, and all what have you. All this they need to be doing routine check. And by the time they see their physician, of course, there are other tests that they do that has nothing to do with physiotherapy that they need to be doing in the hospitals. Those are the things that I think I can think of right now.
All right. Now, aside from the modern medicine and modern physiotherapy and other forms of medicine, but we're focusing on physiotherapy for now. Some people, particularly those who stay in the villages or those who, are more inclined to traditional practices. Are there traditional Nigerian practices that align with modern physiotherapy when it comes to healthy aging, or the approaches to healthy aging?
In the villages, they don't usually have some of the problems that we have or have in the urban areas, is because they are more mobile than us. They go to farm, they go to market, so their lifestyle is not that sedentary like in the urban centers. So they are doing well. We have these traditional bone setters that are there in the villages. They do what they do, but we don't encourage such things, because most of them, they end up bringing patients back to the hospital worse than they are supposed to be, and some things that could have been prevented will have happened to them. So it's always better to therapy. We on our own, we are trying, like I said, the WHO is partnering with medical rehabilitation to make sure that physiotherapy service is taken down to the villages too.
All right. Thank you. Before we go, I would like you to, tell us briefly about your role at the teaching hospital and what drew you to, helping older people. What drew you to, helping older people?
Physiotherapy has always been my passion.
Okay.
So at the Federal Teaching Hospital there, we have physiotherapists there, and our department, the CMD has tried for us. As my passion, I like to see people move around, because a healthy person or healthy people will build a healthy nation, and a sick people will have a sick nation. So, and I think sometimes I just look at it like the importance of physiotherapy is somehow underrated in what they do, and how they can add quality to people's life. It's one thing to, one of the things we say to people, we say, we wish you long life, long life and prosperity. But this long life comes with its challenges. And these challenges are things that physiotherapy addresses just by movement. Movement is medicine. And by saying that movement is medicine, it means that if you have diabetes, you're going to take drugs. If you have high blood pressure, you're going to take drugs. If you have sarcopenia and you have all those things, they say take supplements. But physiotherapy in the form of exercises takes care of these things. It's one pill in one. And I have this popular saying that exercise is medicine. Take one daily.
All right, that's quite a lovely one. And where do you see, or what do you see the future of physiotherapy in Nigeria, particularly for the aging population? And what message would you like to leave to Nigerians, both young and old, about preparing for and embracing healthy aging?
This morning, before I came for this program, I was checking my laptop, and there's this new statistic that showed that the aging population is even growing at a very alarming rate. And so when we say the aging population is growing, it means that we are beginning to have the elderly people and the aging more in Nigeria. And so we will need to to do more as physiotherapists to see that these people are engaged in physical activities. That is just what we are asking for, nothing more. It's not about going to buy this. And the good thing is this drug I'm talking about is free. Exercise is free. You just have to enjoy doing it. Move around. Don't just stay in one place. It's unfortunate that the lifestyle we are having in this modern age now is making things enjoyable, in quotes to say. You just sit down and then you use your voice to off the light. You can just clap and then the door opens. You use remote control to even control your car and things like that. So activities is getting lesser and lesser and lesser. And this is going to cause more problem for us, especially for as we grow old. So those are the things that is what we physiotherapists are trying to talk against. Let's move away from this new technology.
Ibrahim, the Deputy Director, Physiotherapy, Federal Teaching Hospital, Birnin Kebbi. Thank you so much for your time and for the work you do in physiotherapy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right, it's our pleasure as well. And the show will be back in a moment. Do stay with us.
We are local.
Why the main market is in chaos? People.
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended say aye. Aye. We have taken it by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Bright and early as the day breaks, as the newspaper headlines trail the stories that shape the day. We at Signature TV trail the headlines that trail the day. We interrogate the headlines. We analyze the stories that make the headlines.
WAEC is overrated, and they even overrated themselves and went into CBT. They are insensitive of some Nigerian children who have never had what is called CBT.
With passion and emotion, we drive the conversation to change a narrative.
Let nobody be deceived by Nigerian high level of performing in agriculture export. We are still where we are.
Newspaper review on Signature TV every morning on Signature Morning, weekdays, and Signature New Day, weekends. Newspaper review on Signature TV. We do not just review the headlines, we make the headlines relevant to our daily lives.
Welcome back, and we have a breaking news. A fatal accident just occurred at ENUGU Port Harcourt Expressway involving a Dangote truck and unconfirmed number of passengers sustained injuries, with one confirmed dead. And one of our staff here at Signature TV was at the location where this incident happened, and he'll be speaking to us right now on what took place there. We're speaking with Charles. Yeah, what happened exactly? Can you give us a brief of what occurred at that ENUGU Port Harcourt Express?
Well, what I have to say here is that the trailer came from all the way towards UTH, towards the UTH, the four corner where it's filled. It is like up to like 3 vehicles. Why one of the vehicle was under the trailer and it caught fire before it caught fire.
All right. What is the security operatives in ENUGU doing about this?
Well, I think that we are already there before I met the incident, and they were able to put up the fire, but I don't think they were able to rescue most of the people in the vehicle.
All right. From what we have here, an unconfirmed number of passengers sustained injuries and one confirmed dead. So, what happened to those people? Were they carried to a hospital, or what about those casualties?
Well, I followed the incident up to the emergency unit at UNTH, and they told me that they couldn't give me the details about the number of patients they have in that unit, because everybody, even the chief nurse, I was told to wait for the chief nurse to give information, because the casualties are very much, because the vehicle involved, the first one is an 18-seater bus, and the other one is a mini bus that contains 8 or so passengers, and the one under the truck is a vehicle that can't be down. Nobody can tell until the truck is moved from the vehicle.
Was there some form of escalation, or was it just between the truck and the bus?
Well, it's just the truck, the bus, the 2 buses, and the vehicle that it was under.
All right, Charles. Thank you so much for your input in this and for keeping us updated. We'll still follow up to know what happened after now. But thank you so much for having this conversation with us. Where are you currently at the moment? Are you still at the area, or have you left the place?
I'm currently at the emergency ward where we are waiting for the chief nurse to give us info on the amount of patients, that were brought to that ward from the incident that just happened.
All right, but were you able to speak to any of the people there, maybe even those from the fire service or any of the bystanders there to get some more information?
Well, what I can say is that, first of all, from the filming I was able to make, said the filming almost caused reactions from the security operatives, and I wasn't able to make any video from the emergency work based on the high attention of the security officials. But I feel like there was prompt reaction. Reaction from the fire service, because while I was there, I was still seeing smoke of the vehicle that they just put off the fire. But they were not able to rescue anybody from the report that I can give from now. That was the report I can give from now from the truck that caught fire.
All right. Thank you so much, Charles, for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please remember that Signature TV will continue to keep you updated on the latest happenings and also follow up on this incident at the ENUGU Port Harcourt Expressway. Now, do stay with us as the morning show continues in a moment.